She stood alone on the broken ridge, watching the battlefield below. The air was heavy with smoke and burned metal. Dead machines and fallen warriors were scattered across the land. This planet was meant to be silent by now. She was an observer, not a soldier. Her kind did not fight anymore. They studied, they recorded, they judged. For hundreds of cycles, she had watched wars from a safe distance. She believed she had seen everything. Then she saw the human. He was alone. His armor was cracked and dark with blood. One arm hung useless at his side. His breathing was slow and painful. Any other species would have fallen. The observers had predicted this battle hours ago. Humans were marked as weak, emotional, and easy to break. Statistics said this one should already be dead, but the human was still standing. Across the field, 3 alien warriors moved toward him. They were taller, stronger, built for war. Their weapons hummed with power. The fight was already decided. She leaned forward without realizing it. Her calm mind felt something new. Curiosity. The first alien charged. The human did not run. He shifted his weight and raised his weapon with shaking hands. The impact sent him sliding across the ground. Dust and sparks filled the air. The human rolled, coughed, and pushed himself up again. One knee touched the ground. Then he stood. She frowned. Why did he rise? Pain signals should have forced his body to stop. The second alien attacked from the side. The human was too slow this time. A blade cut across his chest plate. The sound echoed across the empty field. He fell. She exhaled softly. It was over. Then the human laughed. A low, broken sound, full of pain and fire. He pressed his hand into the ground and forced himself up again. Her eyes widened. This made no sense. He was bleeding. His movements were uneven. Yet his eyes burned with focus. She searched her data. No species continued combat after accepting death. Fear always came first. Surrender followed. But this human did not surrender. The third alien hesitated. Even they felt it. Something was wrong. The human whispered something. The observer could not hear the words. But she saw his lips move. It was not a cry for help. It was not fear. The human charged. He moved with everything he had left. No skill, no beauty, only will. The fight was brutal and close. Metal struck metal. Bodies collided. The human took another hit, then another. Still he did not fall. With a final effort, he drove his weapon forward. The alien warrior collapsed. The battlefield went silent. The human stood there, shaking. His chest rose and fell. He looked around as if expecting more enemies. She realized her hands were clenched. Her heart beat faster. This was not fear. This was awe. She had watched stars die. She had watched empires fall. Nothing had moved her like this. The human reached up and wiped blood from his face. Then he touched a broken alien symbol on his armor and brushed it away. It was a simple act, but it carried meaning. She understood then. Humans did not fight to win. They fought because they refused to kneel. Her voice was barely a breath. A whisper meant only for herself. I want him to be mine. At that moment, the human stopped. Slowly, painfully, he turned his head. His eyes lifted toward the ridge. Toward her. Their gazes met across the distance. Her breath caught. He could not see her clearly, but he knew. He was not alone. The observer stepped back into the shadows. Her mind racing. This mission had changed. This war had changed. And the human had changed everything. The human woke to darkness and pain. Cold metal pressed against his back and wrists. Energy restraints locked his arms wide. Every breath burned his chest. He did not scream. He did not beg. He simply opened his eyes and waited. Around him, the alien chamber was quiet and clean. Too clean for a place meant to hold prisoners. Soft lights moved along the walls like watching eyes. From above, the observer watched through hidden glass. She had ordered the human alive, not because of duty, but because she needed to understand him. The records said humans broke quickly. Isolation crushed them. Pain ended their will. Yet this one lay there in silence. Minutes passed, then hours. The human tested his chains once, then stopped. He was thinking. Alien commanders entered the chamber. Tall forms wrapped in armor and authority. Their voices were calm and sharp. "You should be dead," one said. The human turned his head slowly. His face was pale, but his eyes were steady. "Not today," he answered. The room paused. The aliens exchanged glances. No anger, only confusion. They activated the field. Pain surged through the human's body. His muscles tightened. His jaw clenched. The observer felt her chest tighten. She had seen this test destroy stronger beings. The human cried out once, a short broken sound. Then he breathed through it. He did not ask for mercy. "Why did you fight?" an alien asked. "You were alone. You could not win." The human laughed softly. A tired sound. "I wasn't alone," he said. The observer leaned closer to the glass. Her breath slowed. "What do you mean?" the alien demanded. "I had people behind me," the human replied. "You just couldn't see them." The pain field intensified. Skin burned. Blood ran from his nose. Still his eyes stayed focused. The alien machines searched his mind. Memories surfaced. A blue planet. Open skies. Small hands holding his. Voices calling his name. The observer gasped quietly. These memories were loud. Heavy. Dangerous. Humans carried their world inside them. The alien commander stepped back. "This one is unstable," he said. "He fights beyond reason. Prepare him for trial." Another ordered. "If he survives, we study him. If he dies, we learn." The human heard the word survive. His lips curved into a weak smile. When the chamber emptied, silence returned. The observer disabled the glass shield. She entered the room slowly. The human sensed her before he saw her. His eyes shifted toward her movement. "You watched," he said. Not a question. She froze. Her species prided itself on invisibility, on distance. "Yes," she answered. "Then you know," he said. "I didn't stop because I couldn't." She stepped closer, studying his wounds, his breathing, his heart rate. "Why endure this?" she asked. "There is no escape." The human closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "Because if I stop," he said, "everything I am ends." Her systems failed to calculate that answer. Logic found no path. She lowered the pain field slightly, just enough for him to breathe easier. "This will cost me," she said. He looked at her fully now. Despite the blood, despite the chains, there was no hate in his eyes. "Then don't do it for me," he said. "Do it because you want to." Something shifted inside her. Observers did not choose. They recorded. Yet she had already crossed the line. Alarms echoed faintly through the station. Preparation for trial combat had begun. She turned to leave, pausing at the doorway. "They will try to break you," she said. The human smiled again. Small, tired, unafraid. "They already failed," he replied. She walked away knowing one truth. They had captured a body, but they had never captured the human. And soon, they would understand why that was a mistake. The arena lights burned white and cold. Rows of alien spectators filled the high walls. Their eyes watched without emotion. This was not justice. This was study. The human was dragged into the center. Chains removed. Weapons tossed at his feet. Armor barely holding together. From above, the observer watched in silence. Her role said observe only. Her thoughts said survive. The announcer's voice echoed. Trial combat begins. The gates opened. Two massive alien fighters stepped forward, their bodies built for strength, their armor untouched by war. The human picked up his weapon slowly. His hand shook, not from fear, from exhaustion. The crowd waited. They expected collapse. The first enemy attacked, fast and direct. The human blocked too late. The force sent him crashing to the ground. Pain exploded through his ribs. Air left his lungs. The arena roared. He stayed down. The observer's heart tightened. She leaned forward, almost forgetting herself. The second alien struck. A blade aimed for the human's neck. Something changed. The human rolled aside at the last second. Instinct taking over. Memory waking up. As he stood, his vision blurred. The arena faded. He remembered Earth. A small home. Morning light through a window, the sound of rain on metal. You remember a voice. You don't quit. You stand back up. The alien blade struck again. The human caught it with his weapon. Metal screamed. The crowd went silent. He pushed forward, every movement heavy, every breath painful. The observer saw it clearly now. Humans did not fight alone. They carried ghosts with them. The human was hit again. Blood spilled onto the arena floor. His knees buckled. He looked down at his hands. Shaking, broken, alive. He stood. The crowd murmured. Confusion spread. The human moved without grace, but with purpose. He used the enemy's strength against them, turning weight into weakness. One alien fell. The sound shook the arena. The second enemy roared and charged, rage replacing training. The observer made a choice. Her fingers moved across hidden controls. The arena shields flickered for half a second. The human felt it, a small opening, a chance. He took it. With a final push, he drove forward. The alien collapsed. The arena froze. Silence followed. Then chaos. Alarms screamed. Voices shouted. The trial had failed its purpose. The human stood alone in the center, barely breathing, barely standing. The announcer hesitated, then spoke. Subject survives. The observer left her station, ignoring commands, ignoring rank. She entered the arena floor. Every step an act of rebellion. The human saw her approach. He did not raise his weapon. You helped, he said, not accusing. Yes, she answered. Why, he asked. She looked at him. Really looked. Because you remember, she said. And we forgot. Security forces moved in. Weapons raised. She stepped between them. Her voice strong now. This one is no weapon, she said. He is a warning. The guards hesitated. They had never seen an observer defy command. The human placed a hand on his chest. Pain sharp, heart steady. You still don't get it, he said quietly. She turned to him. We don't fight to scare you, he continued. We fight so we can go home. Those words struck deeper than any weapon. The observer understood then. Humans were dangerous, not because of strength, but because they refused to forget who they were. Orders echoed through the arena. Detain both. She did not resist. She stood beside the human. As they were surrounded, she whispered, They fear you now. The human gave a tired smile. They should, he replied, but not for the reason they think. As they were taken away, one truth spread through the station. Quiet, unstoppable. The humans were not breaking. They were waking up. And soon, the galaxy would remember them too. The corridor was long and silent. White lights followed them like cold stars. The human walked slowly, guarded on both sides. The observer moved with him, her ranks stripped away. They were no longer assets. They were problems. Behind the walls, alarms whispered fear. The station felt it. Something had changed. The council chamber waited ahead. Old minds, old rules. They believed order came from control. The human was pushed forward. He did not resist. He was too tired for anger. The observer stepped beside him. Her voice calm, her heart loud. The council spoke as one. This human destabilizes our system. He inspires disorder. He must be erased. The human lifted his head. Eyes steady, body broken. You watched me fight, he said. You watched me bleed. And you are still afraid. Murmurs spread. Fear wrapped in logic. The observer stepped forward. I witnessed truth, she said. This human did not seek power. He sought meaning. The council rejected the idea. Meaning could not be measured, so it could not be allowed. Orders were given. Execution prepared. The observer felt the moment split. Duty on one side, choice on the other. She remembered the battlefield, the whispers she thought no one heard. I want him to be mine. She acted. Security systems failed at once. Doors sealed. Lights dimmed. The human turned toward her. You don't have to, he said. I know, she replied. That is why I am. The station shook as power shifted. Control slipped from ancient hands. She spoke to the council one last time. You studied humanity from distance. You never listened. The human took a step forward. Pain slow. Will fast. We are not here to conquer, he said. We are here because we endure. Weapons aimed at his chest. Hands shaking. You think strength is numbers, he continued. Strength is standing when you are alone. The guards lowered their weapons, not because of orders, but because they understood. The council lost its voice. Authority drained away. Escaped ships launched from hidden bays. The observer guided the human through fire and noise. They reached the edge of the station. Stars wide and waiting. A small vessel powered up, not built for war, built for travel. As they lifted away, the station faded behind them. Old fear left to collapse under its own weight. The human closed his eyes, exhaustion finally winning. She watched him breathe, slow, alive. In the quiet of space, she spoke softly. My people will hunt you. He smiled weakly. Humans are used to that. She hesitated, then said the truth she had carried. I chose you, she said, not as a weapon, not as a subject, as hope. He opened his eyes, met hers. I don't belong to anyone, he said. She nodded. I know. The ship moved forward, toward unknown stars. Behind them, messages spread through the galaxy. Stories of one human, one observer, one stand. Species listened. Empires paused. They began to understand. Humans were not dangerous because they fought. They were dangerous because they refused to surrender their soul. As the stars stretched ahead, the observer finally understood her whisper. She did not want to own him. She wanted to stand beside him. And somewhere in the vast dark, humanity took another step forward, not as conquerors, but as something far more powerful. Unbroken, the ship moved quietly through deep space. Stars stretched into long lines of light. Silence wrapped around them like a living thing. The human slept in the narrow seat, his body still healing, scars fresh, breath slow but steady. The observer watched him from across the cabin, not studying, not measuring, simply watching. She had crossed a line no observer had crossed before. There was no return. Behind them, the station burned, not with fire, but with fear. Messages spread faster than ships. Whispers passed from system to system. One human stood alone, and an empire hesitated. Military councils gathered across the galaxy. They replayed the recordings again and again, each time expecting weakness, each time finding defiance. They asked the same question. Why did he not stop? No data answered that. The human woke slowly, pain greeting him like an old enemy. He sat up without a sound. You're still here, he said. Yes, the observer replied. I stayed. He nodded, as if this made sense. Where are we going? He asked. Anywhere they are not, she said. He looked out at the stars. So nowhere's safe, he replied. She almost smiled. A warning signal flashed on the console. Multiple signatures. Fussed, armed, searching. They found us, she said. The human stood, still weak, still human. Then let's not run, he said. She turned to him sharply. They will destroy us. Maybe, he answered, but they will remember. She understood then. Humans did not measure victory the same way. Enemy ships closed in, weapons charging, voices demanding surrender. The observer opened a channel. Her voice carried across the void. You fear humanity, she said. You should, but not because they attack. The human stepped beside her, close enough that she felt his warmth. You fear us, he said, because when everything is taken, we still choose who we are. The enemy fleet hesitated. Orders conflicted. Logic stalled. One ship fired. A warning shot. Space cracked with light. The human did not flinch. The observer made a final choice. She transmitted the full record. The battlefield. The arena. The council. Truth without filters. Across the galaxy, screens lit up. Soldiers watched. Civilians listened. They saw a human fall. And stand again. The firing stopped. Not from mercy, from doubt. Commanders argued. Fear crept into certainty. The enemy fleet withdrew slowly. Not defeated, but shaken. The human exhaled, sat back down. Energy spent. They will come again, he said. Yes, the observer replied. But not alone. Days passed, then weeks. Signals reached them. Other species, other voices. Some asked questions. Some asked for protection. Some asked for stories. Human colonies heard the call. They listened. They remembered who they were. The galaxy shifted. Borders softened. Threats lost their edge. Not because of force, but because of example. The observer watched humanity from inside now. Not above, not apart. She saw humans laugh after loss, build after ruin, hope after despair. She finally understood the danger. Humans did not adapt to the galaxy. The galaxy adapted to them. The human stood at the viewport one night. Stars reflected in his eyes. "You still watching?" he asked. "Always," she replied. He nodded. "Just remember," he said, "we're not heroes." She tilted her head. "We just don't quit," he finished. Far away, fleets repositioned. Empires reconsidered. Observers rewrote their rules. A single truth settled into the void. Humanity had not declared war, but the galaxy had learned respect, and that lesson would never be forgotten. The signal arrived without warning. Not a threat, not a demand, a request. It came from a border world. Small, ignored, caught between larger powers. The observer read the message twice. Then once more. "They are asking for humans," she said. The human looked up from the console. Tired eyes, strong focus. "For help?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "They say." No one else answered. The ship changed course. Stars bending toward a new direction. The border world was broken. Cities dark. Defenses shattered. Sky filled with silent ships waiting to strike. The enemy fleet was large. Not attacking yet. Watching. Testing fear. The human stood at the viewport. Hands steady. Heart loud. "They expect us to leave," he said. The observer nodded. "That is what everyone does." "We won't," he replied. They landed openly. No stealths. No tricks. The enemy ships shifted, confused by the move. On the ground, civilians watched. Different species. Same fear. The human walked into the open square. Unarmed. Alone. The observer stayed behind him, recording nothing, choosing everything. Enemy commanders hailed them, demanding surrender. Threatening destruction. The human answered simply, "We are staying." Laughter echoed across channels. Mocking. Certain. The first shot hit the ground near his feet. Dust rose. Crowd screamed. The human did not move. More shots followed. Closer. Sharper. He raised his voice. Not in anger. In truth. "You can take this world," he said, "but you will have to live with it." The firing stopped. Not because of mercy, because of confusion. The observer felt it then. The shift. Fear changing sides. Human ships arrived one by one. Not warships. Carriers. Medical vessels. Builders. They formed a line in the sky. Simple. Unmoving. A message spread across open channels. "We don't always fight, but we don't abandon." The enemy commanders argued. Threats lost their power. The human turned to the crowd. "You are not weak," he said. "You were just alone." The words settled deep. The enemy fleet withdrew slowly. No battle fought. No victory claimed. The world breathed again. Days passed. Humans helped rebuild. Shared food. Shared stories. The observer watched children laugh in ruins. Life returning. She finally asked the question, "Why do you stay?" The human thought for a moment, then answered, "Because leaving is easy." She understood then. Across the galaxy, others watched. Worlds once silent began to speak. Asking, hoping. Humans answered when they could, not as rulers, not as saviors, as neighbors. Empires struggled to respond. Force meant nothing against presence. The observer recorded one final note. Not for archives. For herself. Humans were not defined by war. They were defined by what they refused to walk away from. The human stood beside her as ships prepared to leave. More calls waiting. "You ready?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes." The ship lifted off, heading toward another unknown signal. Behind them, the border world stood brighter. Not because of protection, but because someone stayed. And across the galaxy, a new understanding formed. Humans did not need to conquer space. They belonged in it. The warning came too late. It always did. The observer felt it first. A shift in patterns. A silence where there should have been noise. Human ships were not answering. 3 systems dark. Signals gone without trace. The human stood beside her. Jaw tight. Eyes sharp. Someone sold us out, he said. The truth hurt more than any weapon. The betrayal did not come from enemies. It came from allies. From those who smiled and nodded. Then chose safety over honor. A coalition council had formed in secret. Afraid of humanity's influence. Afraid of the way humans stayed. They called it balance. They called it prevention. They called it necessary. Human-age ships entered the next system unaware. Welcome beacons lit. Defense grids powered up behind false smiles. The trap closed fast. Energy nets wrapped around human vessels. Weapons locked in place. On the ground, civilians watched in silence. Shame heavy in the air. The human clenched his fists. They trusted us, he said. The observer felt the weight of it. Trust broken did not heal easily. A transmission cut through the silence. The coalition voice calm and practiced. Humans disrupt stability, it said. They create hope that cannot be controlled. The human laughed once. Short and bitter. So that's the crime, he said. Human captains across the stars made the same choice. They did not fire. They did not flee. They opened their channels. Broadcasting openly. We came to help, the message said. If that scares you. That was never our intent. Coalition forces advanced. Confident. Certain humans would fold. They were wrong. Humans shut down weapons voluntarily. Power rerouted. Shields lowered. The observer felt panic rise. They will destroy you, she said. The human shook his head. No, he replied. They will show everyone who they are. The first human ship was hit. Disabled. Not destroyed. Another followed. Then another. Across the galaxy, recording spread. Humans standing down. Hands open. Trust visible. Civilians began to speak. Quiet at first. Then louder. These are the ones who stayed. These are the ones who helped. Doubt crept into coalition ranks. Orders hesitated. On one world, a defense officer lowered his weapon. Then another. The observer watched something rare happen. Power questioned itself. The coalition leader ordered full arrest. Fear pushing reason aside. Human ships complied, one by one, without resistance. The human exhaled slowly. They think surrender is weakness, he said. They don't know us. Detention centers filled. Humans placed behind energy walls. Tired, unbroken, the observer moved among them. No longer hiding, no longer observing. She spoke to commanders, to guards, to civilians. Look at them, she said. They are not plotting. They are waiting. The human sat quietly in his cell, hands resting on his knees, eyes calm. A guard finally asked the question, "Why don't you fight back?" The human looked up, voice steady. "Because this isn't the end," he said. "It's the test." Across the galaxy, stories collided. Fear versus memory. Control versus choice. Worlds that humans had helped before began to move. Not fleets, not armies. Voices. They sent messages. Then ships. Then people. They stood outside detention zones. Unarmed. Watching. Coalition leaders felt it. The pressure of being seen. The observer realized the truth. Humanity's greatest strength was not endurance. It was patience. They could wait longer than fear could rule. As protests spread and systems questioned orders, the human closed his eyes. "This is where it turns," he said softly. The observer believed him. Because everywhere humans had stayed, someone was now standing for them. And the galaxy was learning another lesson. Betrayal could trap bodies, but it could not cage what humans inspired. Not for long.